It's 2009, and for the first time ever, I fly to SoCal for the NAMM Show with my band to represent Legere Reeds at their booth. This is a completely new experience for all of us. Meeting brand new people and artists, interfacing with companies I've only ever read about, playing gigs and sitting in at booths all over the place. Kenny G even takes time out of his day to make fun of me for using a tuner on my saxophone. And then to top off the experience, our whole band gets offered an endorsement by a company that we've only recently just found out about. And we basically all said yes on the spot because the deal was so beneficial to us. We weren't used to people offering things so quickly like that to a bunch of unknown musicians. Okay, so quick backstory here. At the time, these cases were starting to show up everywhere in Berkeley where we were all in school. Everyone had one, but more importantly, all of the people whose opinions mattered most to me had one. The endorsement situation was cool, but I have to admit that looking back, it felt like an endorsement opportunity with a company that I hadn't really built a good relationship with already. And at the point that I'm at now with endorsements, I really like to build that relationship first. Some years went by, we were all very happy repping the product. And honestly, it was standing up to the wear and tear that came from all of our gigs, fully and as advertised. But the chain of communication started to break down between us and the company, and none of us could actually figure out why. I even kept buying the products because whether or not I had an endorsement, these were the best products for my needs. You know, these are not necessarily a case that you really want to throw onto the plane, but after years and years and hundreds of gigs using these bags, they were barely showing any wear for me. With that in mind, some years later, I decided to reach back out to the company and try to create another channel of communication. I mean, I hadn't heard from them in ages, but if you looked on my website, I was still listing them as an endorsement. It wasn't actually until the pandemic, though, that I found out why the chain of communication was lost. Mono cases had been bought and sold a couple times for whatever reason. Surprisingly, though, it had been bought by a company called BandLab in 2016. Maybe those of you in the music industry know their software. They've owned it ever since. Strangely, also, they own a very large portion of Rolling Stone magazine. They own Tesco pedals, Cakewalk, and Sonar, if you're familiar with those. And I'm sure all the musicians know the website Reverb Nation. In fact, they also represent Heritage Guitars. Kind of a big company, but a wild smattering of things that they have their hands in. Okay, cutting to the chase. 16 years later, I still love and use these bags every single day. Not only do I love them, but I have way too many of them. Not necessarily a complete list, but I'm sure that I have a single bass case for every bass that I own, whether it be classic or vertigo. I have the M80 Classic double bass bag for when I need to show up to a session with a couple of instruments. I have numerous M80 22-inch cymbal cases. The dividers are awesome and they do a great job of protecting my cymbals from each other. And I really love the separate pouch for the hats and for the splash, and also the little place for the hi-hat clutch. I have 2 pedalboard cases, one for Brit Floyd and one for the studio. Maybe a third soon as I start to build out a new guitar rig too. The aluminum boards that come with them are awesome. Mono even makes a power supply for your pedal board that I've put on one of mine as well. It's been a tank thus far. I have a Vertigo case that came with my Loesch Guitars Super S. I'm sure that I have at least 2 of the studio stick cases. Probably you'll see them most with me while I'm on the Brit Floyd gig. It hangs on the left side of my kit. And with all of the cases that I have, I've only had 2 issues in 16 years. Once was with a bass case, one was with a cymbal bag, and both of them were material tears. Mono serviced both of these cases with a super quick turnaround, actually. I've just ended up having really great experiences with both the products and the people now. The material's great just simply because it stands up to the elements. I don't really have to worry about my bass getting wet from taking it out in weather. I love that the bottom of the cases are beefed up, and still they leave a small space for the pin at the bottom of the instrument. Really thoughtful design choice there. They also add some sort of extra rubber material on the exterior bottom, which is pretty good at taking a hit while you're on the go. Cases are thick around the edges. They have really great zippers. I've never actually had one of those fail ever. Basically all of the appointments that you'd want in a product like this. On the guitar and bass cases, the neck bracing inside the bags are fantastic and they keep the neck in place and protected. I think the neck area design is a little bit better on the Vertigo series, but the Classic series has always held up too. The backpack straps on all of these have been pretty comfortable and have never worn out on me once. Good storage options in each of the cases too, just enough for the gigging musician. Although I think for my bass bag, I should probably think about buying one of their Tick cases so that maybe I can have a good space to fit my Class D bass head in. For the pouch that's on there, that head is just a little bit too large, but it's good at holding everything else for me. I usually toss a cable in there, a strap, a couple of sets of strings, a few tools, and I'm good to go. Altogether, supremely well made, super protective, and all at what I feel is a pretty decent price point for a higher end product. My only gripe that I've ever had with Mono is that they don't make a saxophone bag. I begged them a lot for one in the early days of being an endorser, and I've brought it up once or twice with the newer people that I'm working with too. They don't seem too interested, but I also get it. Why compete with ProTech, Reunion Blues, and the like, who have had a stranglehold on that part of the industry for years? One little pro tip for you guys who are thinking about a new case or own one of these already. Think about using the D-ring on here to hold up your gig clothes if you don't have a good place to put them when you're in your dressing room. So if you're not familiar with this brand, definitely make sure to check them out if you're in the market for a new case. I see more and more instrument manufacturers that are actually including these cases with their new instruments going out the door. That definitely says a lot. Regardless, I'm sure you'll be pleased. If you guys have any product questions for me about some of the stuff that I own, please drop them in the comments down below, and I'll make sure to get to each and every one of them. I should also note, although I do endorse this brand, I chose to make this video on my own and nobody asked me to do it. I figured I would just continue sharing some products that have worked really well for me over time. For those of you who have been hanging out around my channel for a little bit, please subscribe if you're not already. If you can, drop a like and ring the bell for notifications. See you guys next time.